FDA has a long partnership with the government of India, food agencies, and has collaborated on seafood, spices, and on implementing food safety regulations. Our relationship with INPEDA as the lead agency for a regulatory partnership has been critical in moving this initiative forward, and we look forward to many more years of working together on seafood safety. Here's a little bit of an overview of FDA. FDA's mission covers far more than food safety. It covers pharmaceuticals, medical devices, cosmetics, tobacco, vaccines, veterinary drugs, and biological products. FDA-regulated products account for roughly 21 cents of every dollar spent by U.S. consumers, or approximately 4.1 trillion of our annual economic activity. FDA-regulated products represent 19% of all U.S. imports and 16% of U.S. exports, making FDA's international engagement a direct trade issue. There's nearly 300,000 facilities worldwide that are registered with the FDA. More than half of those are located outside the U.S., which is why international partnerships are not optional, they are essential. I'm a part of an organization within FDA, it's called the Office of Global Policy and Strategy. I am based in New Delhi, India. I have been there for almost 4 years now. So India has been a home for myself and my family. I've had the privilege of seeing much of this beautiful country and being to many shrimp farms and processing facilities. I've been able to see the quarantine facility here in Chennai, and I've had a great privilege of learning about the great and growing infrastructure and industry here in India. And that's sort of the mission of FDA in our global office, is to be able to have boots on the ground, to have people in country to be able to learn, to gain information, to be able to see trends, and to also be able to share about FDA expectations that might help industry work a little bit more smoothly with our processes. We also have offices in Latin America, Europe, China, and as well in Africa, with more to come. So our in-country presence is, we've been in New Delhi since 2008, and over that time we have built a deep relationship with the Indian regulatory bodies, industry associations, and even laboratory networks. Here's a little overview of our perspective of food safety in India. We conduct inspections, routine surveillance and compliance inspections at food facilities all over the world, including India, including seafood processors that export to the United States. Here you can kind of see a trend. That big dip there is COVID. So this is the total number, and these are the years. And so you can see there was a big dip in our inspections, but we're back up to those original numbers where we were pre-COVID. Each of those inspections will come out with a classification as either no action indicated, voluntary action indicated, or official action indicated. And those findings are opportunities for us to develop key engagements and conversations in country. From the graph here on the inspectional findings, you can see the top issues is a lack of pest control, followed closely by a lack of appropriate quality control operations or a lack of sanitary monitoring. And so one of the things that we're here and that we do is we interact with the relevant regulatory bodies and industry on training such as HACCP. And we know that INPEDA offers this training, and we encourage industry to take part in those HACCP trainings. Before I talk about some of our regulatory partnership work that we're doing with the government of India currently now in WGS, I want to briefly touch on some things that were mentioned already. It was about a new food safety rule that FDA is launching on traceability. Food traceability, as you all know, is the ability to follow the movement of a food product and its ingredients through all steps in the supply chain, both backward and forward. And it involves documenting and linking production, processing, and distribution chain of food products and ingredients. In this case, a foodborne illness or contamination event, if tracing helps government agencies and those who produce and sell food to rapidly find the source of the product and where the contamination may have occurred. This enables faster removal of the affected product from the marketplace, reducing incidences of foodborne illnesses. So this rule is something that what FDA is going to be talking about more, especially here in country. We're talking with some of our subject matter experts to come and interact both with the industry and government of India in announcing how to comply with FDA's traceability standards. And the compliance date for that is going to be, it's been extended to July 2028. This rule, in some details on this rule, it will require persons who manufacture, process, pack, or hold foods on the food traceability list, which includes seafood, to maintain these additional records. The rule covers the entire food chain and includes both domestic and foreign entities. There are some exemptions from the rule that may apply depending on the size of entity, volume of production, etc. This graphic here shows some of the steps at each stage for aquacultured shrimp. Aquacultured shrimp in India typically originates at coastal pond farms, moves to processing plants for cleaning, freezing, and packaging, then travels through exporters, freight forwarders, U.S. importers, and finally to retail, food, or Harvard dining. All the way to the table with our esteemed colleague. Each stage, farm, processor, cold storage, export, import, distribution, they're all critical tracking events where data must be captured and retained under the traceability rule. I don't have time to go into all the details now. I would love to, but again, we are working with the Seafood Exporters Association and the Government of India to bring some of our experts to make sure that information on traceability is very clear, and we have some dialogues about the rule that will be enforced in 2028. We also have some really major exciting, this has really been a very busy year for us in the seafood space. FDA experts have been all over this country, and they have seen a lot of the amazing work that is going on here. And one of the major initiatives is a regulatory partnership and also whole genome sequencing. And these initiatives will further strengthen regulation of shrimp exports and enhance laboratory capabilities using the latest technology. It's a really great opportunity for the US and India to work together on this important food safety topic. This is a new partnership. This is a new type of partnership. This is a new sort of innovative type of work that FDA is doing. It allows FDA to engage in cooperative activities with another government on a specific food product or food safety area. Funds for this initiative were provided by Congress for 3 countries, India, Indonesia, Ecuador, as these are the top 3 exporters of shrimp to the US. And the benefits to FDA are getting information on India's framework, enhancing our controls of shrimp exports, and increasing our collaboration on food safety issues, especially during an outbreak. And we are very fortunate that there have been very few outbreaks due to shrimp from India. However, seafood refusals average about 10 to 12 a month, and this can be expensive for the exporter. So the benefits to India are FDA providing training, technical assistance, and increased collaboration on refusals, import alerts, and other regulatory follow-up, and collaboration and training on whole genome sequencing by FDA subject matter experts. So with regard to our whole genome sequencing, I'm sure you're all aware of this lab process that helps determine the DNA sequence of an organism, of the organism's genome. By breaking the DNA into fragments and then sequencing them and reconstructing the genome, a comprehensive blueprint is available to identify genetic variants, diagnose diseases, and track pathogens. So one can use this high-tech lab method to accurately identify a pathogen location, and trace it back to its origin. It was mentioned on the previous slide, one benefit to India's food safety training. And FDA has conducted seafood HACCP, good aquaculture practices, seafood sanitation, and seafood decomposition trainings in collaboration with IMPEDA, EIC, CAA, and CIFT. And some of you may have been at some of those trainings. And we encourage industry to take the trainings that are also offered by IMPEDA. And one of the things that we were able to go through in our partnership is we were able to work through a standards tool, going through and tracking down, and we were able to observe inspections and the oversight of India's regulation of shrimp products. And we also were able to have our leadership come from headquarters. We had an excellent cadre of leaders that came from FDA headquarters to interact with government leadership across this country. Then we had field visits, and they have taken FDA and India, they've gone to coastal shrimp farms, processing facilities, input shops, feed mills, and laboratories. Through all of this, US and India are working together to create shared, on-the-ground understanding of how the system works. I think now we have some pictures of the leadership meeting that occurred just over a year ago. Here that we have that with, you can see that with INPEDA. You can see some of our photos from our field visits to farms and our experts there with GOI experts. These are some photos from our lab team visits, and these teams visited INPEDA, EIC, FSSAI, and state labs in Kochi, Mumbai, Chennai, Vizag, and Vijayawada. So I do want to just really take the time in closing here to specifically thank INPEDA's leadership for arranging all of these visits. I know that it was a heavy lift. It was a lot of states, it was a lot of farms, it was a lot of people, it was a lot of details, and I very much want to say thank you to INPEDA for the leadership that has enabled this great effort to occur in this last year. I know that right now, actually, the last step is for our report to come to INPEDA, and I know that INPEDA is eagerly awaiting it, and we look forward to those future conversations. But none of this important work, none of these experts coming from the US wouldn't have happened without INPEDA's leadership. I just want to say thank you to INPEDA for doing that.